one time on there, I near about shot a one-star general right after the war was over. I was guarding a German lieutenant, and we was talking. He'd been all over the United States and studied and everything till the war broke out. Hitler called him back home so he could serve in the army. And he was wanting to know where I was from. I told him, yeah, he'd been to North Carolina. And I said, you ever been to Salisbury? And he said, yeah, I've been to Salisbury quite a few times. He said, I was all over the United States. And we were standing there talking, and one three-star general come up and said, I need, told me, of course, I stopped him when he come up, and then he stopped and wanted to know he needed 7 good men. And we had strict orders, and that lieutenant told him, said, you got one right here, a good man. And said, we stood guard over German women and German men, and they had a fence around the buildings where they had them in. And we stood guards, and that three-star general told us that nobody was to come in there without a written permit from him, and said, if it's not from me, they don't get in. He said, do y'all understand? We told him, yeah, we understood. A couple of days later, a one-star general come down there, and I happened to be on guard that day, which I shouldn't have been, but I was. And he pulled up there, and I stopped him. He said, soldier? I said, yes, sir. I said, I'm going in here. He said, if any of my men's down here. I said, none of your men's down here, sir. And you got a written permit from the three-star general. He said, no, I don't need one. I said, if you get in here, you'll need one. All I had was a 45, of course, when I was on guard up there, to give you an M1. But I had it loaded, but I didn't have one in the chamber. I just had the clip in, which is 15 rounds. And he told the driver to go ahead, and the driver started, and when he did, I popped one in the chamber and held it right on him. The driver stopped. He told him to go ahead. He said, I believe he'll shoot. I didn't say a word. I just stood there and held that gun on him. I told that driver, I said, you better turn this thing around and go back out. He turned it around, he stopped. And the general told him, said, you turn this Jeep back around and go back down there. I'm going down there to see if you my men down there. And he said, I don't know. He said, I believe that guy'll shoot. I just raised it up a little bit and shot him. I said, did you think I'll shoot? The driver said, I believe he would. So I called the sergeant and the lieutenant up there. They come up there and sent him out. They wouldn't let him in either. That would have took. The next day they called me in down there. I went in. Them boys wanted to know. I said, Robert, I said, yes. I said, where you want me to send your mail at? And I said, I'll pick it up right here. They laughed, and I went on. That three-star general was sitting in there, and he said, Basinger? I said, yes, sir. Give him a highball. He said, at ease. He said, we just come to talk. I said, thank you. And I sat down. He told me to sit down. I sat down. He said, I understand you was on guard when that general come up there and went in. I said, yes, sir. He said, would you have shot him? I said, that was my orders, wasn't it? He said, yes, sir, and I meant for him to be carried out, too. I said, I was carrying him out. Well, he said, you shot at him. I said, I shot over his head, but I didn't shoot at him, but I could have. He said, yeah, you could have. He'd been paid for it. He said, you're doing a great job. I said, keep it up. He said, you're not in trouble. He said, I'll see if that don't happen again. I said, thank you, sir. I left.